Do you know why so many seniors over the age of 70 often end up with regret after remarrying, instead of finding the happiness they expected? If you are a senior considering starting over with a new marriage, then you must watch this video until the very end. At first glance, remarriage after retirement might seem like a fresh opportunity for joy. But what if the truth is completely different? For many elderly men and women, this step can actually create problems rather than solutions. These include emotional stress, financial strain, and even complicated legal matters. Take, for instance, the story of Mr. Robert from Chicago, a 72-year-old retired teacher who chose to remarry because he felt lonely. Just months later, he found himself caught in family disputes, arguments about inheritance, and ongoing tension over shared assets. A psychiatrist even warned that this constant pressure could seriously harm his health and overall quality of life. This isn't about fearmongering or being negative. It's about helping seniors make wiser decisions in later life. After 70, the stability you've built over decades becomes one of the most important things you must protect. Seniors need the strength to tell the difference between a genuine need for companionship and the risks of losing control over their own lives. Maybe you feel lonely, or perhaps there's pressure from those around you. That's completely understandable. But before making such a life-changing choice, think carefully about how it might affect your children, your finances, and your physical and mental health. Seniors who have worked hard for years deserve a peaceful life, free from new problems. That's why this video was created, not to judge, but to provide guidance and wisdom for seniors. The goal is to help you avoid unnecessary burdens while still finding ways to remain independent, healthy, and truly happy. So if you've ever wondered whether remarrying after 70 is the right choice, stay tuned. Because the last of these reasons we'll share may completely change your perspective on love, trust, and independence in old age. Number 1. Major financial pitfalls in later life. On the surface, finding love again in your later years looks like a blessing, someone to share conversation with, enjoy favorite meals, and spend quiet afternoons together. Yet many people after turning 70 don't realize how quickly a second marriage can put at risk the financial foundation they spent decades building. Think about all you've likely done, saved carefully, kept up with insurance, set aside retirement funds, maybe paid off a mortgage. Then one signed marriage license can alter everything. If your new spouse brings unpaid debts, mounting medical bills, or dependent children from a previous relationship, you may legally find yourself responsible for those burdens, whether you planned for it or not. Consider this scenario: Mrs. Linda, a 74-year-old widow who met Mr. James at a community event held at Target. They married with hope and warmth, but a short time later it surfaced that Mr. James had significant unpaid medical bills and little savings. Within 2 years, Mrs. Linda's retirement savings were being spent down to cover basic expenses. Her adult children felt betrayed and the family relationships frayed. Many seniors believe they can keep money matters separate from romance. Unfortunately, legal realities and public benefit rules don't always align with that belief. Some benefits, pension supplements, survivor benefits, or healthcare supports, can be affected or even terminated by remarriage. Doctors have seen seniors suffer acute stress after suddenly losing benefits they didn't know remarriage could cancel. And when there's no formal legal planning, intended inheritance can unintentionally transfer to a new spouse or their relatives. Even when trust is complete, life can shift, promises change, relationships strain, and disputes can flare. Before long, what you meant to protect for your children can evaporate. So how do you protect yourself? 1. Learn the legal consequences of remarriage in your jurisdiction. These are things you must know. 2. Talk with a family law attorney or notary to get proper documents in place: wills, beneficiary forms, prenuptial/postnuptial agreements. Solder legal safeguards into your plan so they aren't easily undone. 3. Communicate with your children, not to ask permission, but to show them you're thinking responsibly and to avoid surprises. The fallout from financial loss isn't only material. Many older adults feel shame, anxiety, and a loss of dignity. They hide the truth to avoid disappointing family, even as their independence, hard-won over a lifetime, crumbles. In your 70s, health, stable finances, and inner peace usually matter far more than short-term comfort. Remarriage can bring warmth and companionship, but weigh whether your heart is ready and whether your wallet can handle it. If your roof is secure, your meals are covered, and your plan for the future is clear, pause and think it through. Your heart may say yes, make sure your finances don't have to say, please don't. Number 2. The hidden burden of health responsibilities. Remarrying after the age of 70 may look like a hopeful new chapter, full of companionship and love. Yet many older adults don't realize that saying, I do, can also mean stepping directly into your partner's health challenges. At this stage of life, when the body slows down and energy becomes precious, medical care isn't just a side issue, it becomes one of the most important daily concerns. Picture this: you've spent decades raising children, supporting a spouse, maybe even caring for aging parents. Finally, it's your time to breathe. But once you remarry, you might unknowingly take on the role of caregiver again. Many seniors already juggle aching knees, arthritis, high blood pressure, or the daily habits of taking medication for diabetes. That's enough to manage. Now imagine if your new partner, say, Mr. Robert, has even greater health issues. Suddenly you're driving him to medical appointments, reminding him about pills, helping him move around the house, even monitoring what he eats. What started out light can grow into a heavy, unexpected weight. Here's what few talk about: caregiving in old age can silently erode your own well-being. Studies have shown that older caregivers often lose sleep, eat poorly, skip their own doctor visits, and suffer declining health. They give so much to others that their own vessel runs dry. Take the story of Mrs. Helen, a 75-year-old from a community near Walmart. She remarried a kind man, Mr. Charles, but just months later he suffered a mild stroke. Suddenly, Helen was lifting him, helping him bathe, and arranging therapy sessions, even though her own knees were weak and her eyesight was fading. Before long, she showed up at her local senior health center utterly exhausted, discouraged, and nearly burned out. This isn't about a lack of love. It's about boundaries. You cannot pour endlessly into another person if your own strength is gone. At this stage of life, your energy and independence are resources you must protect. Avoid taking on caregiving responsibilities you're not ready for, or you may find yourself overwhelmed in ways you never imagined. So before saying yes to remarriage, ask yourself honestly, am I truly prepared, physically and emotionally, to care for another person today, tomorrow, and for years ahead? If even a small voice inside says no, listen to it. Because your own health, especially after 70, matters more than ever. If you've stayed with us to this point and find these insights valuable, type number 2 in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon, so you won't miss future videos designed to guide seniors toward wisdom, strength, and lasting peace. Number 3. The overlooked legal dangers. One of the most overlooked dangers of remarrying after the age of 70 isn't about romance or companionship at all, it's about the complicated world of law. Many seniors step into a new marriage without realizing that this one choice can set off a chain of legal and financial consequences. And these consequences don't just touch you, but ripple out to your children and even your grandchildren. Think about it. You've spent decades building stability, a modest home, a retirement account, carefully saved funds, maybe even heirlooms that carry deep emotional meaning. You may already have a will in place, clearly stating who inherits these things. But with one marriage certificate, everything can shift. In many parts of the U.S., a new spouse automatically gains rights to part of your estate, even if your will says otherwise. This means your children could inherit less than you intended, or worse, end up battling in court once you're gone. And inheritance isn't the only issue. Pension rights, Social Security, and health benefits can also change. For example, Mrs. Linda, a widow who had been married to her first husband for 30 years, received survivor benefits from his pension. Those payments covered her medication, food, and utilities. But when she remarried at 76, she discovered those benefits ended immediately. What started as a step toward companionship suddenly left her scrambling to cover basic living expenses. Legal complications also show up in medical decisions. If you become ill, whether from diabetes, high blood pressure, or even a leg injury, your new spouse may legally have the final say in your treatment. Even if your children know your wishes, they could be legally sidelined. That's exactly what happened to Mrs. Margaret, an 81-year-old from a community near Target. She remarried a man she met at a local church group. At first, it seemed harmless, just two older adults finding comfort in each other. But when Margaret was hospitalized, her new husband made medical choices that clashed with her children's wishes. Soon, the family was dragged into court, not only over healthcare but also over Margaret's home, which she had always intended to pass down to her grandchildren. With regret, Margaret later admitted, "I thought I had found peace, but I only brought turmoil to my family." These are the things many older men and women fail to consider when loneliness takes over. But ignoring them can lead to conflict that overshadows the love you hoped for. Remarrying isn't just a personal choice, it's a legal contract with powerful consequences. That's why you must ask yourself clearly, if I remarry now, am I truly prepared for the legal impact on my assets, my medical rights, and my family's future? If your answer feels uncertain, it may be wiser to pause. Protecting peace, mental health, and family harmony is just as important, if not more, than chasing temporary comfort. What may look like a beautiful new beginning can sometimes lead to draining legal battles. Knowing how to think carefully, set boundaries, and avoid rushed decisions is part of the wise habits every senior deserves to practice in their later years. Number 4. The disappearing freedom. When you step into life after 70, one of the most valuable things you hold on to is not wealth, recognition, or status, but freedom. Freedom to wake up at your own pace, eat what you like, spend the afternoon in quiet reflection, or choose small routines that make life peaceful. Every senior has already lived decades meeting family needs, following rules, and putting others first. So in the later years, life should feel lighter, calmer, and more your own. But remarrying at this stage can quietly chip away at that freedom. In youth, compromise in marriage feels natural. Yet in older age, your routines and personal habits are already deeply set. You know exactly what foods support your health, what keeps your legs moving, and which little rituals bring peace. Introducing another person into that well-balanced rhythm doesn't always feel like support, it can feel like disruption. Take Eleanor, a 76-year-old widow from near Walmart. For 5 years, she lived comfortably on her own. Eventually, she remarried a kind gentleman she met at a church senior fellowship. At first, everything seemed refreshing. They enjoyed morning walks, shared home-cooked meals, and even made a habit of drinking herbal teas together. But soon, Eleanor noticed the freedom she once cherished was slipping away. The quiet mornings with just her tea, the peaceful afternoons reading without the TV blaring, the choice of when and what to eat, slowly, these freedoms faded. "I didn't mind compromise before," she confessed. "But now, every small change feels like I'm losing part of myself." Before long, she even had to check in before visiting her grandchildren out of town. At this age, health isn't just about the body. It's also about the spirit. Seniors must stay hydrated, eat properly, keep their legs active, but also safeguard their emotional space. Without it, stress and resentment can build silently. Remarrying isn't wrong, but you must ask, how do I hold on to myself? Am I prepared to adjust my daily rhythm for the sake of companionship? A strong relationship later in life should respect comfort, not demand drastic change. For any soldier of life's long battles, men or women, considering remarriage, never underestimate the importance of your independence. Life after 70 should feel broader and calmer, not tighter and more restrictive. If this message resonates with you, drop a number 4 in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Golden Age Wisdom channel. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss other inspiring stories, motivation, and essential advice every senior must know to avoid unnecessary burdens and keep living wisely. Number 5. The financial web that can backfire in old age. By the time you reach life after 70, many seniors begin to wonder if remarriage could bring comfort, whether to ease loneliness, find companionship, or simply share the little things that make life meaningful. But behind the warmth of new love lies a risk many people fail to see: financial entanglement. In your 30s or 40s, merging bank accounts and planning together with a partner makes sense. You're building a future, saving for a home, maybe raising children. But in your 70s, the mission is different. You are no longer building but protecting the independence you've fought for. Your savings, assets, and retirement plans are not just money in a bank account. They represent freedom, stability, and security. When you remarry without strong boundaries, those hard-earned protections can easily dissolve. If your new partner carries debt, poor spending habits, or ongoing financial obligations, those responsibilities can suddenly become yours. Without a prenuptial agreement, an updated will, or legal safeguards, what you meant for your children or grandchildren can end up in unexpected hands. Consider George, an 82-year-old widower from near Target. After losing his wife of many years, he decided to marry an old family acquaintance, hoping only for companionship. Within 2 years, however, he found himself paying off her credit card debt, covering medical bills for her adult son, and eventually selling the cottage he once promised to his grandchildren. "I only wanted someone to share life with," George admitted. "But instead, I gave away half of what I'd built." This is not rare. Many seniors discover too late that their children's inheritance becomes tangled with stepchildren from a partner's previous marriage. Without legal clarity, family disputes ignite, tearing apart the very relationships you wanted to protect. So how do you avoid these traps? First, you must be brutally honest with yourself. Do you still have the energy and clarity to manage such a complicated financial puzzle? Second, take action with clear legal planning. Update your will, discuss asset distribution, and if needed, create a prenuptial agreement. These steps are not about distrust, they are about protecting your peace and ensuring your loved ones aren't left with chaos. Remember, at 70 and beyond, your health, independence, and peace of mind are priceless. Remarriage can be beautiful, but never at the cost of your financial security. If this point makes you stop and reflect, type number 5 in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Golden Age Wisdom channel, so every soldier of life's long journey can stay informed, empowered, and free from avoidable mistakes in later years. Conclusion. When life moves after 70, most seniors have already endured storms that younger generations can hardly imagine. At this stage, we've known the sweetness of love, the sting of loss, the joy of sacrifice, and the ache of loneliness. We've laughed until our cheeks hurt and we've cried until our hearts ached. Over the years, our perspective has shifted. Life is less about chasing new things and more about appreciating what we already hold. That's why, when an older man or woman begins to think about remarriage, the choice is not simply about companionship, it's about how they want to spend the most valuable years left. Feeling lonely and wishing for company is natural. Human connection remains essential for mental health, even in late life. But experts and doctors remind us that friendship and warmth don't always require a wedding ring. They can grow from close friends, family dinners, community involvement, maybe at a local group near Walmart or through volunteering, and, most importantly, from inner peace. True connection doesn't always demand marriage. Sometimes, the truth is that we are already whole. For some, life after 70 is about coming home to yourself, finding joy in quiet moments, freedom in solitude, and peace in being fully authentic without compromise. This is not loneliness, it is independence. Take the story of Evelyn, a 74-year-old woman from near Costco. She remarried later in life but confessed that what she truly missed was the freedom to choose her own routine without endless compromises. She later realized her decision was influenced more by outside pressure, social expectations that said a woman must have a partner, than by her own heart. Remember this, once you've passed 70, you don't need to prove your worth through marital status. Your worth has already been proven through decades of resilience, habits of perseverance, and love given to family and friends. Before saying yes again, pause and tell yourself, I deserve happiness. You deserve peace, health, enough food, water to drink, strong legs to carry you, and the guidance of your doctor. If remarriage supports those goals, wonderful. But if not, that's perfectly fine too. We'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments one lesson you've taken from today and how you'll use it in your own life. Your words may inspire another senior walking the same path. If this video gave you insight, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support is what keeps the Golden Age Wisdom channel alive, spreading motivation, inspiration, and the advice we must all remember as we grow older. Thank you for being here, and we hope to see you again in our next video.